Okay, for those of you who don't know, I'm Rick Bradshaw, I'm the Sheriff of Palm Beach County. I have with me Major Chandler from FHP. Brian Swain is the Special Agent in charge of Miami Secret Service. And I have George Piro, Special Agent in charge from the FBI out of Miami. So I'm going to give you an overview of what took place, and then I'm going to give the other gentleman an opportunity to make a quick statement, then we'll do some questions. Here's what transpired. About 11:38 this morning, the FHP, Florida Highway Patrol, who's working a security job at the breakers, was notified by security that they had a white female that was acting irrationally. It was actually up on top of her car doing some kind of dance. FHP that was there drove his vehicle up, and as he was driving up, she got into her vehicle, which was a black SUV, I believe, a small compact Jeep. He walked up to the window to try to get her attention to roll the window down so he could talk to her, and she wasn't paying attention to her, was fooling around over on the side by where the console was. He kept trying to get her to respond. She tried to put the vehicle in reverse, at which time he kept tapping on the window. When she looked like she was going to put it in drive, he actually smashed the window out to try to grab the steering wheel, but it didn't work. He was able to get his arm out, and she drove off. He got back to her vehicle to try to pursue her at that particular point. He was able to catch up with her, but lost her again in the traffic because he didn't want to take any chances of hitting an innocent vehicle. She went south on Ocean Drive towards Mar-a-Lago. He tried to catch up with her there. When she approached the Mar-a-Lago area, she crashed through the first checkpoint, putting some lives of the people that were involved at the checkpoint there. Proceeded to the second checkpoint, crashed through there. The deputies and the Secret Service agents that were there moved out of the way just in time, but due to the fact that she had breached these two checkpoints, it was unknown at that point in time, due to her erratic driving, how many lives she was going to put in danger. We didn't know if there was somebody with a car bomb. We didn't know if somebody was there to try to hit as many pedestrians as possible, because we all know, we've seen it all over the place. People use cars to kill people, and people use cars for car bombs. At that point in time, the security people that were there, the deputies and the Secret Service, opened fire on the vehicle. The vehicle kept going south. At that time, the FHP officer was able to catch up and pursued that vehicle farther south and then west on Southern Boulevard over the bridge. He lost sight of her on the other side of the bridge and actually lost contact with her. In the meantime, we're finding out that this is a rental vehicle and trying to find out who it was registered to. Fortunately for us, one of our license plate readers went off and indicated that that vehicle was over near the airport. We alerted FHP, they had units in the area, and actually spotted the vehicle again. That trooper followed that vehicle to a local motel where the driver jumped out and was trying to flee to a room. The trooper did a great job, tackled her, and took her into custody there. So that particular scene has been secured. The vehicle is secured, the room is secured, and we're going to get search warrants for the room and the vehicle, which will be executed by us, the FBI, and the Secret Service in a joint investigation. And we're going to get further details. Right now, the suspect has not been interviewed, and we are going to do that at a later date. The vehicle has been struck by multiple rounds of gunfire. Nobody is injured, thank goodness. Neither the deputies nor the Secret Service agent nor the people that were in the vehicle. There was two females in there. We believe that the original female actually picked up the second female after she lost the pursuing law enforcement officers over at the Mar-a-Lago area. The person in custody is a white female by the name of Hannah, and I'll spell the last name for you. Roemhild. She's a white female that's 30 years old and does not have a past that we can discern right now. She has, I believe, a Connecticut driver's license. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to the Major of FHP and let him make a brief statement.
Pretty much, Sheriff Bradshaw stated everything that happened with our trooper. Actually, it was a Sergeant Tony Kingery, that this started with. Our troopers did a really good job in You know, at some point we did lose sight of her, but it was for the public safety. We're not going to pursue through the town of Palm Beach and risk lives. She had driven on the wrong side of the road. But we worked together with the sheriff's office and we quickly captured her. It didn't take much long. It was probably within a few minutes after we lost her. But are there any questions?
What's the name? How long between? You say you lost her for about? What's the timing there?
It would probably maybe 15 minutes. Don't hold me to that, but it was a very short time.
Any weapons found in the car?
We got to do a search warrant for that.
Name of the hotel where she was found?
Reiterate how the trooper initially got involved with this woman in the car.
Well, Sheriff Bradshaw did say that we were working an off-duty. The sergeant was working an off-duty security detail for the breakers. They had approached the sergeant, the security there, and said they had some complaints about this person was acting strange, whether it was under the influence of drugs or alcohol or just strange behavior. Something wasn't right. So that's when the sergeant went back to approach her vehicle.
Sir, you said you didn't know what her intentions may have been, but under what circumstances would deputies fire their weapons?
Okay, that's not for him to answer.
That's not for me.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're not going to get into that
And
particular
can you tell us
aspect.
where
right
in the
now.
parking lot? It wasn't parking lot breakers, correct? Was it close up near the valet, or was back in a different area?
It was, I believe, near the fountain. Don't hold me that. There's a big fountain up front.
And her car was parked there?
I believe so.
Custody, 2 women, Sheriff?
No,
One.
just one.
Name of the hotel
How
where
many
you found her?
shots were fired, and which agencies fired the shots?
Let's back up for a minute. We're going to let these other two people talk, and
FHP
then
did
I'll
not
take some
fire their
questions.
weapons, just so you know.
Question about FHP. What was it about the trooper? What did the trooper see that made him feel that he had to take the dramatic step of punching out the window?
Well, she wasn't acknowledging his presence there, even though he's banging on the window, yelling at her, trying to get her attention. Just like if anybody here has dialed 911, you know, believe that they spotted somebody, that something's wrong with their driving on the road, you would expect the trooper to do his job. So he's doing his job, making sure she was okay, but she wasn't acting normal to him.
But he was also fearing that she could back out and do something crazy,
Yes.
hit somebody.
Yes.
About how fast was she going, and how close did she get to Mar-a-Lago, the actual property line?
I think the sheriff could answer that better
I'll
than me.
answer that in a couple minutes.
Major, can I get your name, please?
Major Robert Chandler.
Robert Chandler?
Yes, Chandler. But to answer your questions, at one point it was speeds somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 miles an hour. It could have been more, but
On the island.
on the island, yes.
All right, we're going to have the Secret Service here give you a statement.
Just say your name.
Good afternoon. I'm Brian Swain, the Special Agent in charge of U.S. Secret Service in Miami, Florida. As the sheriff mentioned earlier today, a vehicle fleeing from local law enforcement approached an outer perimeter checkpoint and failed to stop. The vehicle continued towards a second checkpoint and failed to stop. Both checkpoints are manned by U.S. Secret Service and Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies. These vehicle checkpoints are located on public roadways and are part of the U.S. Secret Service outer perimeter. Again, let me emphasize, the outer perimeter. They are not located on Mar-a-Lago property. We can confirm that local law enforcement and Secret Service discharged their weapons at the vehicle. No Secret Service protectees were in Palm Beach County during the time of this incident. We will not have any further comment at this time.
I'm sorry, what did you say, sir? No Secret Service protectees? Meaning the president was not here.
We're going to now have George Piro from the FBI.
Just spell your name, please.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is George Piro, P-I-R-O. I am the Special Agent in charge of the FBI's Miami Field Office. As you're aware, there was an incident today at Mar-a-Lago. The details have been provided to you by the sheriff. The FBI is jointly investigating this incident along with the United States Secret Service and Palm Beach Sheriff's Office. The FBI's investigation pertains to the potential assault on federal officers that have occurred, and we will be investigating this jointly. It is very early in the process, so we will not be speculating in regards to the suspect's motives or intentions or the circumstances around the incident. And we will, upon completion of our investigation, potentially have additional federal charges. Thank you.
Sheriff,
Okay, what he just said is important. We're not going to speculate on things, all right? That's why I said don't get into what-if questions on me here. We're trying to give you early on information on everything we know, okay? So that's why we're here. There's a lot more to be discovered here as far as why she did what she did, whether she was impaired or not. I mean, the trooper did the right thing. This woman's driving on the wrong side of the road at 70 plus miles an hour with people all over the place, not to mention the fact she assaulted a federal officer with a deadly weapon, which the vehicle is a deadly weapon, folks. There was 7 police officers killed last year with vehicles, feloniously, all right? And how many people have been killed in crowds with vehicles with terrorists driving in there? Not to mention the fact we don't know what's going on until we get that vehicle. It could have been loaded with explosives, all right? So I heard a question over here, at what point are we going to fire? We're going to fire when our lives are in danger and the danger of the public. And that's exactly what happened. All right, so when we get done with the search warrants, if we get any statement from the suspect here, then we're going to get back to you. But at this point in time, we've told you everything that we know, and the investigation continues. It's a joint investigation, so when we know more, you'll get press releases as we go, and if it's important enough, then we're going to get you all back together. Now let's, whoa, one at a time. Let's have some really good questions.
But it does appear, a few hours into this, that the Mar-a-Lago connection seems to be just pure coincidence.
Yeah, this is not a terrorist thing. This is somebody that obviously was impaired somehow and is driving very recklessly and endangering not only the public, but the law enforcement officers that are there. That's what this is.
But it appears there was no intention. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago.
No, there's no intention. It's a road that leads nowhere else but to Mar-a-Lago. I'm not so sure she knew where she was going.
Sheriff, can you talk about how close she came into the main entrance of Mar-a-Lago?
There was no way she was getting into the main entrance. She was at the checkpoints, right? There's a lot of layers of security before she even remotely gets into where they're. Yeah, wait.
Could you walk us through the shooting again? Because the only reason I ask is the helicopter flew over. It was almost impossible to hear what you said.
Okay.
Could you give us that again?
Yeah, well, as this vehicle that's going in excess of 70 miles an hour comes towards the Mar-a-Lago checkpoints, she crashes through the first one, which is barricades manned by deputies, goes through to the second checkpoint. There's already a vehicle there that's being checked, crashes through that particular area, and then over towards where another checkpoint would be, where there's deputies and the Secret Service are actually in the street next to the vehicle. That's when they said, you know what, we need to take some action here to try to disable this vehicle and the driver before it goes any farther. So that's the scenario there.
Sheriff, was that before the curve onto Southern
Yes, that's
Boulevard?
before the curve.
So basically right in front of Mar-a-Lago.
Well, yeah, if you want to say in front, but it's like in front on the street.
No, I get that.
Okay.
I just meant like in
Yep.
proximity to
Absolutely.
the building.
It's
And
out.
when
It's
you
out there on
mentioned
the ocean
barricades
side.
crashing through, are you
Yeah.
saying she actually drove through some structures, or just
No.
a stop sign that she knew
Well,
where to
you have to go around the structures. Okay. Okay. Let's one at a time here. Yes.
You're on A1A, and how did she navigate through? There's a slalom course of concrete barriers.
Yeah. It's not easy. She actually crashed into some bushes right there when she went around the third area where the Secret Service people were.
Sure. Where was the shooting exactly?
But it's between the second structure that she went around and the third vehicle that was blocking the driveway.
How many shots fired?
Multiple.
Sheriff, do you worry that the barricades were doing their jobs? If it's that easier, I don't want to say easy, but if she was able to get around through 2 different security checkpoints, does it expose vulnerabilities?
No, it doesn't. Like I said, she wasn't even remotely close to being able to get into what we call the inner perimeter bubble over there. Has nothing to do with getting close to where if the president was there, she wouldn't have been even remotely close to that.
Is there a reason why it's in custody, but the second woman is not in custody?
No, the second woman we don't believe was actually in the vehicle at the time it occurred. That she went and picked this particular individual up before she tried to get to the motel.
She's not being charged.
What's the question?
She's not being charged.
The second individual? No. The charges against the first individual are going to be, like the FBI said, assault on a federal officer, and then the other one's going to be deadly assault on 2 of the sheriff's deputies, and whatever traffic charges, which are going to be probably very severe traffic charges that are going to be placed by FHP, because there's no doubt that she was reckless and abandoned to operate that vehicle as she did in public.
Was she hit by the Palm Beach County Jail as of now?
She's in an interview room right now, but she will end up in the Palm Beach County Jail.
Hannah, H-A-N-N-A-H?
Yes.
And then R-O-E-M-H-I-L-D.
Correct.
Sheriff, is there a reason why deputies and Secret Service waited to the next checkpoint to fire at the car, seeing as how it was driving this
Well, just in case the person's going to stop and realize what they've done. Okay? So after the second one, it's pretty obvious they're not going to stop.
Sure.
Not to mention the fact people's lives are getting to be in danger that are in the street working over there.
And the name of the motel, sir, and did she put up?
We're not going to release the hotel name right now because we've got some people there operating. We don't want the public to be all over the place over there.
Did she continue to resist arrest when you picked her up?
I believe the trooper had to actually physically tackle her to the ground to take her in custody because she was pretty much determined to get away.
Sheriff, can you tell me, is there a connection between the female suspect and the motel? Did she stay there?
She was staying there. She was trying to get back to her room. I'm going to take
woman her mother?
two more quick questions.
Is that a picture of her you have?
It is, and I'm going to make that picture available to the public information officer here, who will get that out to you. Last question.
Was that her mother that was in the car with her?
There's some relationship there. We're going to determine what it is before I say that for sure. Thank you, folks. We're going to get back to you. If we have any update, any additional information that is pertinent, we're going to get back to you. And Terry Barbera from the public information will get you the picture and any information that you need on the suspect. Thank you.
Sheriff Bradshaw giving us all the details. I will get you them along with the FBI.
I guess just hold it up.
Yep, I will. This is at South Road and South Road Boulevard. The second check. Off the fine for Francis here. I don't see a mile south of that. Now the check. Not at all. It'll be easier instead of all the checkpoints. Let me stand in the middle of there and then it'll be a lot better. Secret Service agent. You're supposed to identify yourself.
I think I'll just wait till the crowd leaves the way. I don't think Terry's going to run away from us.
Could like put it on a tree.
In that area, so law enforcement. We have a photo of